Good evening, and welcome to Cross-Examine. The device in your pocket right now holds more information than all the libraries of the ancient world combined. We can connect with anyone, anywhere, instantly. But what is this unprecedented access doing to our minds? Is technology a revolutionary tool, propelling human intelligence to new heights? Or is it a cognitive crutch that's making us intellectually lazy? Tonight we debate the motion. Is technology making people smarter or dumber? With us are two distinguished experts. Mr. Kenji Tanaka is a tech entrepreneur and futurist who argues that technology is augmenting our minds. And Dr. Beatrice Dubois is a cognitive psychologist and author of The Shallowing Mind, who holds a more cautionary view. Welcome to you both. Mr. Tanaka, let's begin with your opening statement.
Thank you, Evelyn. To suggest technology is making us dumber is, from my perspective, a fundamental misunderstanding of what intelligence is in the 21st century. We are not becoming dumber. Our intelligence is evolving to meet the demands of a new era. Firstly, technology has democratized access to information on an unprecedented scale. A teenager in a small town today has a greater repository of knowledge at her fingertips than a top scholar did 50 years ago. This fosters a culture of continuous, self-directed learning, allowing people to acquire new skills through online courses or tutorials at their own pace. Secondly, technology grants us what I call cognitive augmentation. We use calculators for complex math, GPS for navigation, and digital calendars to manage our lives. Some may call this a crutch. I call it efficiency. By outsourcing these mundane mental tasks, we don't weaken our brains. Instead, we liberate our cognitive resources for what humans do best: creativity, critical thinking, and complex problem solving. Finally, the collaborative tools that technology provides are creating a form of collective intelligence. We can now work in synergy with people across the globe, sharing ideas and building upon them in real time on platforms like GitHub or collaborative documents. This interconnectedness allows us to tackle immense challenges, from climate change to medical research, that no single mind could solve alone. Technology isn't replacing our intelligence. It's networking it, amplifying it, and making it more powerful than ever before. It is the very engine of modern intellect.
Thank you. Mr. Tanaka paints an appealing picture, but it's one that I believe ignores the detrimental neurological consequences of our digital dependency. My concern is not with the technology itself, but with how its current design is reshaping our brains for the worse. My primary argument centers on the erosion of deep thinking. Our minds are being rewired for constant, rapid-fire stimuli. The endless notifications and the quick succession of social media posts are destroying our capacity for sustained concentration. We are becoming brilliant at skimming surfaces, but are losing the ability to dive deep into a complex topic or read a challenging book. This is not an evolution of intelligence. It is the promotion of intellectual restlessness. Furthermore, there's the illusion of knowledge. Access to information is not the same as understanding. A person can Google a fact in seconds, but that doesn't mean they comprehend the context, the nuance, or the implications of that fact. This creates a dangerous overconfidence, where people feel informed, but haven't engaged in the rigorous mental process of analysis that builds wisdom. Lastly, and most concerning, is the atrophy of our fundamental cognitive skills. Neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to change, is a double-edged sword. When we consistently outsource our memory to our phones or our sense of direction to GPS, the neural pathways that support those skills weaken. We are not liberating our minds for core human abilities wither away from disuse. We are trading long-term cognitive resilience for short-term convenience.
Thank you, Dr. Dubois. You raise a critical point about the difference between accessing information and true understanding. Mr. Tanaka, Dr. Dubois argues we're losing our ability for deep, focused thought. How do you respond to the charge that technology is creating a generation of skimmers, rather than deep thinkers.
It's a valid concern, but I believe it frames the change incorrectly. It's not a loss of depth, but a shift in cognitive style. The ability to quickly synthesize information from multiple sources is a new and incredibly valuable form of intelligence. In previous eras, intelligence was often defined by linear, deep focus on a single source. Today, the sheer volume of information requires a different skill: network thinking. The ability to see patterns, make connections across diverse fields, and validate information quickly is a sophisticated cognitive process. We are training our brains to be agile information processors, which is precisely what the modern world demands.
If I may, agility is one thing, but shallowness is another. What you call network thinking, I see as a fragmented consciousness. The mental process required to build a stable, internal framework of knowledge is being undermined. When you read a physical book, your mind creates a quiet, internal space. When you browse online, your brain is in a state of constant alert, primed for the next click, the next link, the next distraction. This state of perpetual cognitive overload prevents the consolidation of information into long-term memory. It doesn't build wisdom, it builds a house of cards, where every piece of information is isolated and fragile.
Dr. Dubois, let me turn that back to you. Mr. Tanaka's initial point was that technology frees us from mundane tasks like memorization. Isn't there a benefit to not having to remember every phone number and street name, allowing us to focus on more important things?
The problem is, what we consider mundane is often foundational. Memory isn't just a filing cabinet for facts. It is the web of interconnected knowledge that allows for creativity and insight. When you have a rich, internalized base of knowledge, your mind can make unexpected connections during moments of quiet thought. True eureka moments don't happen when you're actively Googling. They happen when your well-stocked mind is at rest. By outsourcing that internal database, we are essentially outsourcing the raw material for genuine creativity. We are becoming empty shells, proficient at finding information, but with no inner world from which new ideas can emerge.
I have to disagree. Creativity today is profoundly collaborative and iterative. The lone genius with a well-stocked mind is largely a myth from a bygone era. Innovation now happens when we remix existing ideas, which technology facilitates beautifully. Look at open source software, collaborative scientific research, or even artistic communities online. They are testaments to how technology can fuel creativity by connecting minds, not by isolating them. The inner world you speak of is not disappearing. It's becoming an interconnected global network. That is a far more powerful creative engine.
Dr. Dubois, you mentioned the atrophy of skills. Could you give us a concrete example of a skill we're losing that has real-world consequences beyond just convenience?
Certainly. Let's consider spatial reasoning, the skill we use to navigate. When we rely exclusively on a GPS to give us turn-by-turn directions, we stop building mental maps of our environment. This isn't just about finding our way. Building a mental map is a complex cognitive task that involves observation, memory, and the ability to visualize and manipulate spatial relationships. Studies have shown that this skill is linked to broader problem-solving abilities and even creativity. By letting it weaken, we may be hampering our ability to think in abstract, structural ways in other domains as well.
But isn't the nature of problem-solving itself changing? The skill is not lost, it has been upgraded. A modern airline pilot, for example, isn't dumber because she relies on advanced avionics instead of a sextant. She is managing an infinitely more complex system, processing vast amounts of real-time data to make critical decisions. Her intelligence is applied to system management and data interpretation, which is a far more relevant skill today than memorizing star charts. Similarly, a surgeon using a robotic arm for a delicate procedure isn't less skilled. They are leveraging technology to achieve a level of precision that was previously unimaginable.
Let's talk about the social dimension. Mr. Tanaka, you spoke of collective intelligence, but many argue that social media, a key technology, is creating echo chambers and spreading misinformation, which hardly seems to make society smarter.
That is an undeniable challenge of our current technological landscape. However, it's not a new phenomenon. The printing press led to the mass dissemination of propaganda and radical ideas alongside Enlightenment texts. Every powerful communication tool has a dual-use potential. What we are seeing now is society in the process of developing a new, essential skill: advanced digital literacy. We are learning, sometimes painfully, how to evaluate online sources, identify biases, and navigate these complex information ecosystems. This struggle is, in itself, a learning process that is making us more sophisticated consumers of information.
I must strongly object to that characterization. To compare this to the printing press ignores the core mechanism of the new technology. The printing press was a neutral platform. Social media algorithms are not. They are specifically designed to maximize engagement by targeting our cognitive biases, feeding us content that provokes outrage or confirms our existing beliefs. This is not a neutral town square where we are learning to be better citizens. It is an environment engineered to make us more reactive, more polarized, and less capable of rational, empathetic discourse. It is actively working against the development of collective intelligence.
We are nearing the end of our time. I'd like to ask you both for a brief closing statement. Dr. Dubois?
We stand at a crossroads. The convenience of technology is seductive, but we must be mindful of its hidden costs. If we continue down this path of unchecked dependency, we risk fostering cognitive laziness and eroding our capacity for deep thought. We risk losing the very skills that have defined human intellect for centuries. The solution is not to abandon technology, but to practice digital mindfulness. We must consciously choose to disconnect, to read deeply, and to train our minds as we would a muscle. For if we lose that, we lose the essence of what makes us truly smart.
Thank you. Mr. Tanaka, your final thoughts?
Every major technological shift in history has been met with fear, from the written word to the printing press. Yet each time, we have adapted, and our intelligence has evolved to incorporate these new tools. Technology is a tool, a powerful one. Our challenge is not to fear it, but to become masters of it. By integrating these tools thoughtfully, we are not becoming dumber. We are becoming the architects of a new, more connected, and more capable form of human intelligence. The future is a synergy between human and machine, and it is a smarter future for all of us.
Thank you both for a fascinating and vital discussion. A cognitive tool or a cognitive crutch? A path to a networked genius or a shallow mind? It seems the answer ultimately lies in how we choose to use the powerful technology at our disposal. That's all the time we have for Cross-Examine. Good evening.